Football is a violent sport, which is what makes evaluating players still in high school so difficult. With how prevalent injuries are at all levels, it's tough to predict who will actually make it to the NFL. That's what makes things like the USA Today, All-USA high school football team so intriguing. These young men were among the best of the best, but many of them never found NFL greatness. Today, we're taking a look back at the 2005 USA Today All-USA team and seeing what happened. Before diving into the first team, here are a few highlights from the second team. Jimmy Clausen, quarterback. I'll be talking about Clausen much more in the 2006 version of this list, but he did make the second team as a high school junior. If you're looking for a deep dive into Clausen's career, just wait a few weeks, but the short version is that he was a top player in his class, played pretty well at Notre Dame, and had a disappointing pro career. Stafon Johnson, running back. Johnson signed with USC after rushing for 2,197 yards and 22 scores as a high school senior. He saw limited playing time as a freshman, but flashed as a sophomore with 673 yards and 5 TDs on 6.9 yards per carry. He led the Trojans in rushing in 2008 with 705 yards and 9 scores, though he was part of a running back committee with Joe McKnight and CJ Gable, who both also ran for over 600 yards. Early into the 2009 season, Johnson was in a weightlifting accident, dropping a 270-pound bar onto his throat while bench pressing. He had to have 3 emergency surgeries and was forced to use a breathing tube for about a month. As you might expect, he didn't play again that season. Johnson did enter the 2010 draft. He wasn't selected, but signed with the Titans after the draft. Unfortunately, an ankle injury ended his rookie season before it started, and he never played in the NFL. In 2019, he started coaching at the high school level, where he's still working as of 2025, in addition to doing some broadcasting work. Mike Goodson, running back. Goodson was born in Jersey, but played high school ball in Texas. There, he became a star on the gridiron and on the track. Originally, he'd committed to Oklahoma State, but he dropped his commitment and went to Texas A&M instead. He had some early fumbleitis, but ran for 847 yards and 4 scores to win the Big 12 Freshman of the Year award. In 2007, he was again splitting carries with Javorsky Lane. His yardage dropped slightly, but he still finished the season with 711 yards. For the 2008 season, Goodson put on 20 pounds of muscle and again shared the backfield with Lane, who had been converted to fullback by new coach Mike Sherman. He led the team in rushing yards with 406, but was limited by injuries. The Panthers picked him in the 4th round of the 2009 draft. He played in 8 games as a rookie, joining the crowded Carolina backfield that had both D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart rush for 1,000+ yards. Goodson ran for 49, but had an increased role in 2010 with Williams dealing with injury. That year, he ran for 452 yards and 3 scores. But when Williams got healthy, Goodson dropped out of the rotation and was traded to the Raiders in 2012. He again played sparingly and signed with the Jets in 2013. However, he was suspended for 4 games for violating the league's PED policy and then tore his ACL and MCL soon after, which was essentially the end of his NFL career. That year, Goodson was arrested on drug and weapon charges. He was a no-show for his trial, with his lawyer saying he couldn't secure airfare. Eventually, the case against him was dismissed, but the person driving the car when Goodson was stopped was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Since then, Goodson has fallen out of the public eye. Sam Shields, wide receiver. Shields made this list as a wide receiver after catching 67 passes for 1,201 yards and 22 TDs as a senior. And when he first joined Miami, he started his career at the same position, catching 37 passes for 501 yards and 4 scores. He continued to be a solid wideout and returner over the next 2 years, but switched to cornerback during his senior season. He played well, but wasn't selected in the 2010 draft. Shields signed with the Packers and established himself as a solid player over the next few years until taking over as a starter by 2012. While not a starter in 2010, he did help Green Bay win a title with 2 picks in that year's playoffs. Shields made 1 Pro Bowl roster in 2014, but he continued to struggle with concussions. In 2016, he picked up his 4th concussion and missed all but 1 game that season. He sat out of the league for a season before joining the Rams in 2018. He was solid, helping the team to the Super Bowl, though they did lose to the Patriots. Shields retired after the season. Recently, he's come out and said he actually regrets playing in the NFL due to all of the issues with his concussions. His daughter Shawnee is a high-level track athlete down in Florida. Al Woods, defensive line. Woods played his college ball at LSU, winning a national championship in 2007. The Saints picked him in the 3rd round of the draft, but he never played for the team. Still, Woods caught on with the Bucs in 2010 and carved out a 13-year career, mostly as a rotation player. His best season came in 2017 with the Colts, when he started 16 games and racked up 5 TFLs and 1 sack. He retired after the 2023 season. As of 2025, he appears to be enjoying his retirement out of the limelight, though he's only been out of the league for a little over a year, so it would not be surprising to see him pop back up sooner rather than later. And that's just a selection of the second team guys, but let's jump to the good stuff and get to the first team offense. Mitch Mustain, quarterback. Mustain was a dominant high school quarterback, throwing for 3,817 yards and 47 TDs while scoring 3 wins over nationally ranked teams and picking up nearly every National Player of the Year award. His coach, Gus Malzahn, was hired to be the OC at Arkansas in 2005, and Mustain signed with the Razorbacks after Notre Dame coach Charlie Weis made it clear he wanted Clausen over Mustain. He won the starting job as a true freshman after the original starter, Robert Johnson, was moved to wide receiver following a poor showing against USC. That said, Mustain was more of a game manager, as the team's running back trio of Darren McFadden, Peyton Hillis, and Felix Jones was the focal point of the offense. Midway through the season, Coach Houston Nutt replaced Mustain with Casey Dick, claiming the sophomore quarterback had more experience. Then, Malzahn announced he was leaving Arkansas to take the Tulsa job. Mustain then announced that he was transferring. After some back and forth with Nutt, Mustain eventually joined USC. He sat out the 2007 season and played in a few games in backup duty behind Mark Sanchez. In 2009, Mustain began the season as the 3rd stringer behind Matt Barkley and Aaron Corp. Just to get on the field, he even tried out at punter, and eventually he became the backup after Corp struggled. Mustain stuck with the team after Pete Carroll left for the NFL and Lane Kiffin took over. That year, he continued to back up Barkley and entered the 2011 draft. Mustain wasn't selected and spent some time playing in the CFL and Arena League. He also played some single-A ball with the Chicago White Sox, pitching in 19 games in 2012 with a 4.63 ERA and 12 strikeouts. As of 2024, he's working as a wildland firefighter as a member of the REMS team and has earned his pilot's license. Chris Wells, running back. Better known as Beanie, Wells decided to stay in state and play at Ohio State, saying, "I think I came out of my mom's womb wanting to go to Ohio State." Beanie split carries with Antonio Pittman as a freshman, rushing for 576 yards and 7 scores, including a 52-yard run against Michigan that put the Buckeyes up for good in the rivalry game. Pittman left for the NFL after the season, so Beanie was the lead back in 2007. He ran for 1,609 yards and 15 scores, picking up first-team All-Big Ten honors and leading the conference in rushing yards. He remained solid in 2008, but missed time with a foot injury, limiting his production. Still, the Cardinals picked him 31st overall in the 2009 draft. The day he signed his contract, Beanie was carted out of practice with an ankle injury. Thankfully, he made it back for the season opener. He was an Arizona starter, but he ran for 793 yards and 7 scores to make the All-Rookie team. He was less effective in 2010, thanks to an injury, but ran for 1,047 yards and 10 scores in 2011 as the Cards' lead back. Unfortunately, he picked up an injury early in the 2012 season, limiting him to just 8 games. During that time, his relationship with team management also deteriorated, and Beanie was released. He did a workout with the Ravens, but tore his Achilles, ending his career after just 4 seasons. Since then, Wells has done some local broadcast work in Ohio and owns a trucking company. C.J. Spiller, running back. Spiller was an All-American in football and an All-State track and field athlete in high school, showing off incredible speed. He decided to sign with Clemson and made an immediate impact, rushing for 938 yards and 10 TDs on 7.3 yards per carry as James Davis's backup. He split carries with Davis for the next 2 years, while also becoming more of a threat as a receiver and return man. In 2009, he became the starter, putting up 1,715 yards from scrimmage with 16 scores and returning 4 kickoffs and 1 punt for touchdowns. Spiller was named a unanimous All-American and the ACC Player of the Year award that year, ending his senior season on a high note. The Bills picked him 9th overall in the 2010 draft. Spiller was with the team for 5 seasons, with his best year coming in 2012. That season, he made his only Pro Bowl roster behind 1,244 yards and 6 scores. However, injuries kept hitting, and the Bills let him walk in 2015. Spiller then signed with the Saints. He got limited touches before signing with the Seahawks in 2016. The team released him soon after, and Spiller signed with the Jets for a few games. He signed with the Chiefs in 2017, playing in 1 game and retiring after the season. In 2020, Spiller joined the Clemson coaching staff as a graduate intern. He was promoted to running backs coach in 2021 and is still in that position as of 2025. Sam Young, offensive line. Young started his football career as a tight end before switching to left tackle. He did not give up a single sack during his final 2 years of high school ball and signed with Notre Dame. Young became the first true freshman to start the season opener at right tackle since freshmen became eligible in 1972. He was named to the All-Freshman squad and started nearly every game he was healthy for across his 4-year career, despite making a brief switch to left tackle as a sophomore to fill a hole in the line. The Dallas Cowboys picked him in the 6th round of the 2010 draft. Young spent 11 seasons in the NFL. He was mostly a depth option, but did start 28 games. Young retired in 2020 and seems to be working in machine learning after taking a course with the London School of Economics in 2021. Andre Smith, offensive line. Smith took his talents to Alabama after becoming the first ever lineman to win Mr. Alabama in high school. Under Mike Shula and Nick Saban, Smith became a dominant tackle, making the All-SEC team in 07 and 08, the All-American team in 08, and winning the Outland Trophy and Jim Parker Trophy in 08 as the nation's best lineman. The Bengals picked him 6th overall in the 2009 draft. He had a lengthy holdout and missed a solid chunk of games as a rookie. The next year, Smith fractured his foot, again limiting him. He took over as the starting right tackle in 2011, holding down that position through the 2015 season. Smith signed with the Vikings for a year, but was out after week 4 with a triceps injury. He spent the 2017 season with the Bengals as a backup and signed with the Cardinals in 2018. Smith did another stint with the Bengals before spending the 2020 season with the Ravens. He was released in 2021 and retired. As of 2025, he's working as the offensive line coach at Miles College. Justin Anderson, offensive line. Anderson played his college ball at Georgia, playing well enough to be picked in the 7th round of the 2012 draft by the Colts. He spent his rookie season on the PUP list and was waived in 2014 despite never seeing the active roster. Anderson played in the Arena League in 2015. As of 2025, he's done some coaching with his high school alma mater and seems to be very into drag racing. Jake Bscherer, offensive line. First of all, apologies for any mispronunciation. I could not find a good source online. Bscherer started his college career at Wisconsin. It looks like he played sparingly from 06 to 09 and then transferred to the University of Minnesota Duluth. The Big OT was an All-Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference player in 2012 and did a training camp with the Seahawks. Since then, he's faded out of the public eye. Carl Johnson, offensive line. Johnson played his college ball at Florida, which means he was part of 2 national championship winning teams in 06 and 08. Johnson briefly played with the Saints, but doesn't appear to have made it past the training camp roster. As of 2023, he's still down in Florida, working as the owner of a restaurant in Gainesville called Egg and Bagel, though it looks like it might have closed its doors in 2025. Percy Harvin, athlete. Harvin was running a 4.3240 as a high school freshman. He destroyed the competition throughout high school and was equally great on the track, winning 5 state championships as a junior before being suspended for his senior season. He signed with Florida for college ball, joining Johnson. Harvin was a dynamo from the jump, making an impact as a rusher and receiver for a national title winning team as a freshman. Harvin helped the team win another title in 08 and was a first-team All-American in 07 and 08. The Vikings picked him 22nd overall in the 2009 draft. He was instantly a star, making the All-Rookie and Pro Bowl team in 09 as a returner. Harvin also picked up the AP Offensive Rookie of the Year with 2,071 all-purpose yards and 8 total touchdowns. He continued to grow as a receiver in 2012 and 2011, but was hit with injuries, namely migraines, in 2012, limiting him to just 9 games. Still, he was a weapon in the return game and a solid wideout, which made it somewhat of a surprise when the Vikings traded him to the Seahawks in 2013 for cornerback Xavier Rhodes. Unfortunately, injuries limited him to just 1 game that year, though he did technically win a title. In 2014, Harvin was traded to the Jets after 5 games. He was solid, but far from his game-changing self with Minnesota. Harvin signed a deal with the Bills in 2015 and spent 2 seasons with the team, playing in just 6 games before migraines, which had plagued him throughout his career, popped up, ending his season. Harvin retired for good in 2017. As of 2025, Harvin seems to be living in Gainesville and taking care of his young family. David Ausberry, wide receiver. Ausberry was born in Virginia, but moved to California by high school, where he became a star wideout. He decided to sign with USC and took a redshirt season while bulking up. Ausberry was never a star for the Trojans, but did run a 4.4840 at 6'4" and 243 pounds. That led to the Raiders taking a flyer on him in the 7th round of the 2011 draft. He switched to tight end in the NFL and played for 3 seasons in Oakland, playing in 34 games. After leaving the game behind in 2015, Ausberry spent some time working in sales before moving into a career as a hazardous waste technician back in California. Konrad Reuland. Reuland was born in Ohio, but played high school ball in California. The 6'5" tight end signed to play at Notre Dame, but transferred to Stanford after the 07 season. He was solid during his 2 years with the Cardinal, catching 27 passes for 350 yards. He was not drafted, but signed with the 49ers in 2011. He bounced around for a few seasons, spending 2 seasons with the Jets, where he caught 12 passes for 90 yards. He joined the Ravens in 2015, playing in 4 games, and played with the Colts in the 2016 preseason. After being cut, and while training that November, Reuland heard a pop in his head, followed by a nagging headache. When he got to the emergency room, it was revealed that he'd had a brain aneurysm. The doctors planned to go into surgery, but the aneurysm ruptured, and Reuland slipped into a coma. He tragically died 2 weeks later at just 29 years old. After his death, his kidney and heart were donated to legendary Baseball Hall of Famer Rod Carew, saving his life. It was an incredible story because Carew's children had attended middle school with Reuland, and the young player had previously called Carew his inspiration for becoming a pro athlete. Kai Forbath, kicker. Forbath was an exceptional kicker and punter in high school, while also playing high-level soccer. He signed with UCLA for college ball and quickly grew into a star. Forbath was named a third-team All-American in 2008 and a consensus All-American in 2009. He also picked up the Lou Groza Award in the latter season as the nation's best kicker. He wasn't quite as good during his senior season, but still played well. He was not selected in the draft, but did sign with the Dallas Cowboys. Forbath spent 9 years kicking in the NFL, playing for Washington, New Orleans, Minnesota, Jacksonville, New England, Dallas, and Los Angeles. He made 86% of his career field goals and 93% of his extra points, while handling kickoff duties through most of his career. Forbath retired after the 2010 season and is working for a software development company as the head of partnerships as of 2025. And now for the defense. Gerald McCoy, defensive line. McCoy destroyed the Oklahoma high school scene en route to winning the USA Today National Defensive Player of the Year award. He decided to sign with OU for college. After taking a redshirt season, McCoy played well enough to win the 2007 Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year. He then made back-to-back first-team All-American squads in 2008 and 2009, though he unfortunately wasn't able to do enough to help OU beat Florida for the 2008 National Championship. The Bucks picked him third overall in the 2010 draft. He played well during his first 2 seasons, but consistently struggled with injuries. When he got healthy in 2012, McCoy started a string of 6 straight seasons as a Pro Bowler. During that stretch, he also made 1 first-team All-Pro roster and 2 second-team squads. In 2019, the Bucks released him and McCoy signed with the Panthers. He didn't have a great season, but when he played the Bucks, he sacked Jameis Winston 2.5 times, getting some revenge on the team that cut him. McCoy signed with Dallas in 2020, but ruptured his quad in practice and was released. He endured a similar fate the next year with Las Vegas, playing in just 1 game due to a left knee injury and a suspension for violating the league's performance-enhancing substances policy. McCoy did not play in 2022 and officially retired in 2023. He quickly signed up with the NFL Network as an analyst and continues to work in media as of 2025. Ricky Sapp, defensive line. Sapp decided to play college ball at Clemson after dominating the high school scene. The big defensive lineman was a sack machine from the jump, finishing in second on the team as a true freshman. He continued to impress over the next 3 seasons, making the All-ACC squad in 2009. The Eagles picked Sapp in the 5th round of the 2010 draft. He converted to outside linebacker with the hope that he could use his speed as a rusher, but suffered a nasty knee injury during his rookie season and was waived. He got healthy and played in 9 games for the Jets between 2012 and 2013, but was released midway through the latter season to clear space for Ed Reed. He signed with the Texans soon after, playing in 5 more games. Sapp re-signed with Houston in 2014, playing in 3 more games before his NFL career was essentially over. He's since gotten into coaching and is working as the assistant strength and conditioning coach with Clemson as of 2025. Sapp also runs his own foundation and does some motivational speaking. Jared Odrick, defensive line. Odrick played his college ball at Penn State. By 2007, he'd won the starting job as a defensive tackle, racking up 2 sacks and 1 blocked kick. He was named to the first team All-Big Ten team in 2008, but saved his best season for last. Odrick was named to the first team All-American squad and won the Big Ten Co-Defensive Player of the Year in 2009. The Dolphins picked him 28th overall in the 2010 draft. Early into his rookie season, Odrick broke his foot, so he only played in a single game. He played well in his second year, totaling 6 sacks and 1 interception. Odrick spent 3 more years with the Dolphins, playing well but never breaking out as a Pro Bowl level player. In 2015, he signed with the Jags, spending 2 seasons with the team before a shoulder injury led to his release. Since retiring in 2016, Odrick has been heavily involved in the arts. writing articles for Sports Illustrated and Sporting News, appearing in 4 episodes of HBO's Ballers, and a few films he executive produced, and curating an art exhibit in Jacksonville. On top of that, Odrick has gotten very into motorsports, winning the Sports Car Club of America Runoff's G2 National Championship in 2023. Eddie Jones, defensive line. Jones signed with Texas for college, where he redshirted during his freshman season. He was a rotation player in 07 and 08, before taking on a larger role in 09 and 2010. During the former season, the 6'2" defensive end made the biggest splash play of his career, taking an INT back 60 yards to the house for a score. In 2010, he was named an honorable mention All-Big 12 player. Jones wasn't selected in the 2011 draft, but did sign with the Jets. He played in 1 game that year, and then spent some time on the Rams and Jets practice squads before retiring in 2012. Jones moved into a coaching career with Hyde Park Baptist. In 2015, he took over as the linebacker coach at Blinn Junior College. He then became the defensive line coach at Tarleton State in 2019. He worked there through the 2023 season when he decided to leave the team and started working as a prison guard. Sergio Kindle, linebacker. Kindle left California to play high school ball in Texas. There, he was named to the All-State roster as a running back and linebacker, rushing for over 5,627 yards and 86 touchdowns across his career. Still, his best position was linebacker, with most viewing him as the best prospect to come out of Dallas since Jesse Armstead in 1989. He joined Jones at Texas and played in 11 games for the Longhorns as a freshman. He was arrested during the summer before his sophomore season after driving while intoxicated and was suspended for the first 3 games of the year. As a junior, Kindle posted 10 sacks to make the All-American honorable mention list. In 09, he was moved to defensive end to take Brian Arakpo's spot. He was named a finalist for the Butkus and Ted Hendricks Award, winning neither but making the first-team All-American roster. The Ravens picked him in the 2nd round of the 2010 draft. Unfortunately, he fell down 2 flights of stairs at his home during the summer before the season started, fracturing his skull. He did not play at all as a rookie and had another run-in with the law in December when he was arrested for drunk driving. In 2011, he played in 2 games, recording no stats. He played in 1 game in 2012, but was released to make room for Terrell Suggs, who was coming back off the PUP list. He joined the practice squad and technically won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. After several years of working odd jobs, Kindle took a job as a linebacker coach at his high school alma mater in 2023. He then moved to defensive coordinator in 2024. Sadly, he was diagnosed with colon cancer in August 2025. Thankfully, his version of cancer is highly treatable, so we'll hopefully see him back on the sideline in Dallas very soon. Brandon Graham, linebacker. Graham was a force in the Michigan high school football scene. Because of that, he was selected to play in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl. However, by playing in that game, he violated Michigan's rules about playing out-of-state All-Star games and was ineligible for the winter and spring seasons. Partially because he couldn't participate in athletics, Graham put on 40 pounds, so when he joined the Michigan Wolverines for college ball, he switched from outside linebacker to defensive end. He got limited time as a freshman behind LaMarr Woodley. But the next year, he played well, racking up a team-leading 8.5 sacks, but truly broke out in 08 with 10 sacks and a Big Ten leading 20 tackles for loss. Graham was even better as a senior with 10.5 sacks and a nation-leading 26 tackles for loss to make the first-team All-American roster and win the Big Ten MVP. The Eagles picked him 13th overall in the 2010 draft. He spent his entire 15-year career in Philly, making 1 second-team All-Pro list in 2016 and a Pro Bowl in 2020. Graham is the only Eagle to be on both Super Bowl winning teams in 2017 and 2024. He racked up 76.5 career sacks, before officially announcing his retirement in 2025. Since then, my man has been deep into the podcast game. Alan Bradford, linebacker. Bradford played linebacker and running back in high school, rushing for 1,869 yards and 29 TDs while racking up 157 tackles and 12 sacks. He then joined Pete Carroll's USC team for college ball, where he made the official switch to full-time running back. Bradford got limited carries during his first 2 seasons and played in just 3 games during his true junior season due to an injury, which saw him take a medical redshirt. In 2009, he ran for 668 yards and 8 scores to make the Pac-10 honorable mention list. As a 5th-year senior, Bradford put up 794 yards and 5 TDs, averaging 7.2 yards per carry. The Bucs picked him in the 6th round of the 2011 draft. He was waived after 1 game and signed with the Seahawks in 2012. They released him early in 2013, so the Giants picked him up. Bradford played in 9 games, accumulating no stats on offense. He then went back to Seattle in 2014, mostly playing on the practice team, and joined the Falcons in 2015, where he suited up for 6 games, but again, didn't have any offensive stats. Instead, Bradford stayed on both rosters by contributing on special teams. Bradford left the game behind after the 2015 season. Since then, he's fallen out of the public eye and appears to be leading a normal life. Akeem Hebron, linebacker. Hebron went to Georgia to play outside linebacker for the Bulldogs. He was mostly a rotation player throughout his career and did not play professionally. Instead, he focused on earning his degree and moved back to Maryland in 2010 to work as a project manager. He continued to live a normal life until sadly passing away in 2023 at just 34 years old. Taylor Mays, defensive back. Mays was born in Texas to Stafford Mays, a former NFL defensive tackle with the Cardinals and Vikings in the 80s. By the time he had his bar mitzvah, Mays had moved to Seattle and started playing football and running track. He was an all-state player at safety and wide receiver before deciding to join Bradford at USC. After Josh Pinkard went down with a season-ending injury, Mays took over as the starting safety as a true freshman. He was the 3rd player in Trojans history to win the Pac-10 Freshman of the Year and was widely viewed as the fastest player on a team that included speedsters like Joe McKnight, reportedly running a 4.25 in the 40 during practice. Mays was so good, the team moved Pinkard to cornerback to keep the big safety on the field. He was named as one of the most physically talented players in college football, standing at 6'3" and weighing 226 pounds with 6% body fat. Mays ran an electronically timed 4.32 in the 40, put up 225 pounds 23 times in the bench press, and recorded a 41-inch vertical jump. And he backed it up with production. He was named to the Nagurski and Lott Trophy watch list in 2008. By season's end, he was a finalist for the Jim Thorpe and named an All-American. He was widely viewed as a first-round pick, but decided to head back to school for his senior season to chase a national championship. Unfortunately, he didn't get it, and his stock slipped slightly despite making the All-American team once again. Unsurprisingly, he mostly dominated the combine, though his 40 came in a little lower than expectations at 4.43. The 49ers picked him in the 2nd round of the 2010 draft. He was solid as a rookie, but was traded to the Bengals in 2011. Mays stuck with Cincy for 4 seasons, consistently rotating onto the field, but failing to lock down a starting role. He briefly signed with the Vikings in 2015, but was released during training camp. Mays eventually made his way onto the Raiders roster, where he played in 14 games, starting 5. He then signed with the Bengals, but was suspended for violating the league's substance abuse policy and was released. He played in 1 game in the Canadian League before retiring in 2018. In 2022, Mays joined the USC staff as a defensive analyst. In 2025, he left to become the safeties coach at Washington. Jonas Mouton, defensive back. Mouton played DB in high school, but at 6'2" and 215 pounds, it was always likely he'd move to linebacker in college as he grew into his frame. After taking a red shirt, Mouton officially made the switch to LB for Michigan. He didn't play much during that first year, but did record a 20-yard kickoff return in the Capital One Bowl. The next year he became a starter and finished the season as the Wolverines' second leading tackler. In 2009, Mouton was solid, but missed time after punching a Notre Dame player and was suspended. He saved his best season for last, racking up 117 tackles and 2 picks to make the second-team All-Big Ten roster. The Chargers picked him in the second round of the 2011 draft. He played in a few games during his rookie season, but picked up an injury that limited him. In 2013, he tore his ACL and MCL during training camp and was out for the entire season. Mouton was waived before the 2014 season and never played again. As of 2025, he's working for an events company in Los Angeles. Antwine Perez, defensive back. Perez played both ways in high school, making the all-conference team as a quarterback and all-state roster as a defensive back. He decided to join guys like Mays at USC. As a true freshman, he played in 7 games, mostly on special teams. Perez couldn't see a quick path to PT, so he transferred to Maryland. After sitting out a season, he played in 13 games, getting 2 starts. Perez was even better in 2010, racking up 74 tackles and 3 picks. He was not selected in the draft and doesn't seem to have played professionally. Instead, he's been working as a high school dean back in New Jersey for the last several years. Ryan Donahue, punter. Donahue played his college ball at Iowa. In 2008, he made the second-team All-Big Ten roster, but was not selected in the 2011 draft. The Lions signed him, and Donahue punted in 8 games for the team before picking up a quad injury. He was released ahead of the 2012 season and has been working in sales since 2015. As of 2025, he's working as a district manager for ADP. And that wraps up the 2005 list of all USA players. I'll be back in a few weeks with the 06 squad, but for now, why don't you check out this list of Ryan Perrilloux and the rest of the 2004 crew.